about, the talk. I'll say, got it.
Yep.
And the first thing is, I know they sent around a picture. I cut my hair, so this is not that. So I just got it recently. I was like, they're not even going to know who I am. Anyway, but thanks for having me. And that was a beautiful introduction. Yeah, Tracy and I worked. We did a cookbook. We produced your cookbook. Yeah.
Forgot about that.
I did it. My background, I started in marketing, started as a copywriter, but most of a career has been in marketing experiences, not products. So started with adventure travel, and so was in there quite a while. And I really fell in love with the transformation piece of travel, where people, you just see them change. When you experience something like that. I was there for many years, worked for Overseas Adventure Travel, BBC Bicycling Vacation, and National Geographic. And then having kids of my own and getting older, and actually also after 9/11, traveling was not as much as what I wanted it to be. So I went and kind of still wanted that transformation, and ended up at Kripalu Center for Yoga and Health here in the Berkshires. So I moved from the city to the Berkshires, and loved it, really loved it, fell so in love with it. I became a yoga teacher myself, and also a health coach, as well as ended up running about 3 different departments there, retreat and renewal, healthy living, and the healing arts department. So had a lot of great friends who were yoga teachers, meditation teachers, body work professionals. And so because my background was so strongly marketing, that's kind of the lens I saw it through. I even thought for a while to become more just a kind of health coach / yoga teacher, but I kept being pulled into helping other people with the marketing. I just loved the marketing piece of it. I love writing. I love the design. I also do design. So, and I worked for the Center for Mind Body Medicine down in DC. And then for Canyon Ranch for a short time. I learned a little something different at every place. And so now I work for an ad agency actually located in Salem. It's a small global agency, and we have a lot of clients. My biggest clients is Georgetown University Hospital. So I work with the Cancer Center. I work with the Transplant Institute down there. So bigger, but one of my huge passions is working still with people who have started their own business, and mainly in the wellness, because so many of my friends are such brilliant practitioners, but they don't quite know how to get the word out. And I wanted to help them do that. So Tracy and I were talking, and I just love this organization. I thought it was so brilliant because everyone's very isolated as well. So I think that kind of bringing people together. So when we talked about it, I've just become more and more moving into website, because over the past probably decade, because that's where it is. That's your doorway into your world. And now there are so many great tools where you can become much more independent with your website. You don't have to hire a big agency to do something. You can do a lot on your own, and with some really, some tips and some ideas to how to make it more effective. So that's kind of so for this talk, that's really what I want to talk about. I do have a presentation going over what I think are the most important things, but really what I'd love to do is understand what each of you want to take out of this. Like, what would, after this, whatever hour and a half, would you feel like, okay, that was worth it. I got out of what I needed. And what I was thinking would be really helpful is for me to get, since it's a nice small group, is your name, what you do, and what would be the one thing you hope to get out of this session. And I'm going to really try my best to make that possible. And I'll be really honest if I can't, but I will try and find someone who does know, because I have a lot of great associates that I work with who will answer something if I can't. So anyway, I know that was a very long-winded intro. I also have 2 kids. I have a dog and a chameleon. And I try very hard to keep my yoga practice up, but it's hard with a full-time job and in this part-time business that on my own that I have, but we all try, right? Do the best we can. So where shall we, anybody like to just introduce yourself and what you do, and maybe what you hope to do, and if you have a website, maybe even.
Susan, do you want to go ahead and start?
I have no glasses. Is it, I'm the only Susan today?
Yes.
Yeah, No, I took my glasses off thinking I'm not going to need them, but I can't see anything. So anyway, yeah, I actually discovered and developed after a long history over 40 years of doing natural health, several lineages of Reiki, and I've been working with people with cancer since I was in my early 20s. I actually helped found the New Hampshire Dream Factory for terminally ill kids. And so my life has always been about health and solutions and helping people. So I finally decided, I took down a website that was like 12, 14 years old, WordPress, and I put up a new one on Squarespace. And that's been like a year now, but I got everything that I just transferred from the old one onto the new one. But I got the information on my first page, but I haven't finished it. I haven't had a picture or something. I'm like, that's got to be on there.
Right.
Like I have in all the other things. I want to play with the wording because I'm more of the medical, I always studied mental health for the last 12 years. And then I actually developed this, and I teach it now online. This therapy that I actually discovered and developed and created. And I've done all of my homework. I'm a provider for education for nurses and all of this kind of stuff. But I want my website to reflect more of who I am.
Okay.
So that's always, I border on the spiritual, and but yet I'm also very scientific and worked in a hospital and all that kind of stuff.
Great,
So,
great. No, and that's interesting. I hear that quite a bit, especially people coming from more of a medical background into that. That kind of, it's a great evolution, but you want both of that. You want that in there. So that's wonderful. And I'm a huge advocate for Squarespace. Everything I develop in Squarespace. I used to do WordPress as well, but yeah. So, all right. Yeah, no, great. Thank you. That's great. Who's next? Come on. Okay, thank you.
My name is Delia, and Delia Sullivan. You can see Delia Sullivan Yoga. And I'm in Alexandria, Virginia. So I'm close to Georgetown University. And actually my niece is actually at Georgetown for grad school right this minute, playing lacrosse.
Nice.
Great institution. And I have a website that is, I was a photographer for 15 years. And I taught yoga on the side, just kind of came across, well, I was practicing yoga and then started doing some nonprofit work with teaching yoga, and then got my yoga teacher training. But it was kind of my side gig because the photography was mostly what I was doing. And then before COVID, I decided to transition and just turn over my business to someone else, and have been teaching full time, that not like 9 to 5 full time, and I do have a website. My brother actually, who's a musician, was starting to do websites for other musicians, and he put together a Squarespace site for me about a year and a half ago, maybe. And he was very adamant about it being very simple and clear. And I was like, coming from being a photographer, I was like, can I put the images of, when we were doing yoga on the mall with any of that? And I said, no, something simple. So it's definitely simple. But I have a hard time like changing things out and updating things. And he kind of was like, it's like a landing page. It's a place people can go, but then they can on. And then I also started a MailChimp newsletter about 2 years ago.
Great.
And so I have about 290 people on my email list. And that is I have found a great way to engage with people. And I'm a social media like love and hate person, because creatively I like it, but I spend so much ridiculous time. And then I really do feel like, the people that are looking at my Instagram and my Instagram followers, they aren't the people that come to my yoga.
Yes. Yeah. I have very kind of strong feelings about social media and its role in that sort of stuff. But I think you're right. And you're not the only person who experiences that quite a bit. And yet there's a lot of pressure that you have to be on social media. So, we probably won't touch on that piece too much, but I'd be happy at some point just talk to you about it. So, all right. So thank you. Thanks so much.
Andrea, you want to go?
Yep, I'll go. And I'm Andrea Paquette. I'm a holistic nurse practitioner and a life coach and author and speaker.
Oh, wow.
And I just wrote a book. I have a marketing person for the first time to help me promote that. And she's done a few things on my website, and she's doing a few other things. But my main problem, I think, is my website is on GoDaddy. And it's not easy to use. There's some glitches that I can't get out. I used to be able to put a blog on there, and now I don't. Now it won't go, and I can't get help.
Yeah.
So that, I think I love the way it looks. I love the colors. I did it, and when the marketing person looked at it, she said she liked it, and she was able to add the book on there and do those extra kinds of things. And she's really actually focusing on social media right now. But I would love it to really work for me. Like, I don't know anybody whose website really works for them. People have gone there to order the book. Occasionally people find me and then go there and schedule a coaching session, but it hardly ever happens that way. It's mostly, word of mouth, and I do it by phone or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's good. Yeah. Yeah. GoDaddy can be really, as you mentioned, glitchy. So my sympathies, because they have some beautiful, and they've really improved a lot. And we will touch on some of that, of this whole idea of, like, you put a website up, but then how do we get people to go to it, especially in such a crowded world. It didn't used to be as bad as it is now. So, but there's some things we'll talk about. So that's great. So thank you. All right, 2 more.
I'll go.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Mary Ann. I'm a Reiki practitioner and holistic life coach in Exeter, New Hampshire. I do have a website that I've had for several years. I built it on Wix.
Okay.
And it is, easy to use, which is great. That's why I gravitated toward it. But I would like to transition. I'd like to get your opinion during the workshop, but I'd like to transition away from Wix because it doesn't look really professional. So I think, having someone design like a custom website for me that would look really professional and have more videos, less text, more pictures. These are some of the things I hear about websites. And, in that area, my website definitely needs some work. So I wanted to look professional because I've looked at other, just Googling different holistic healers in this space. And when I look at their websites, they just look so professional, and mine doesn't look that way. I mean, it's pretty, it's got nice colors, it's got the content is all okay and everything, but I'd like to move away from Wix and do something more custom, more professional.
Okay, that's great.
And I am not a big fan of the social media either. I talk to people that, as you mentioned, there's like that pressure to do it, but honestly, I get most of my business from people Googling me. So the website is working.
That's good.
It's doing something, and also from just word of mouth.
Yeah. Okay. Great. That's great. All right, Mary, thank you. I think we'll hit on some stuff that will help you as well. All right.
So blessed. I'm Nadine McCall, and I am.
I'm sorry, what was that name?
It's Nadine.
Nadine? Oh, it's pretty.
Nadine, yes.
Yeah.
McCall. I'm a family nurse practitioner. I have been in family medicine, primary care for the last 20 years, taking care of babies to 90-year-olds every day. I am really, what I've seen over the last, especially 10 years, is what patients struggle with in terms of trying to prevent chronic disease and then trying to treat it within a traditional medical environment. So I became board certified in lifestyle medicine, which is a separate certification process. So I see lifestyle medicine patients through the American College of Lifestyle Medicine and primary care patients. And I am in the process of starting my own business. So to hopefully fill the space between where primary care leaves everybody wanting for more,
Right.
but sort of to make the connection between what our medical understanding is and what we
Mhm.
want to prevent, but using very targeted research with specific methods regarding lifestyle for patients. So I don't have a website yet. I've spent a lot of time sort of prepping other things while I'm working. So my business paperwork and employee and LLC and all that's going through. So I'm in that process, but I more just want to learn. I've looked at Wix, I've looked at Squarespace. I really want something to schedule for me.
Mhm.
I want options for payment. I want it to be clear. I want people to be able to go there and know what they need to do next.
Mhm.
And yeah, so.
That's great. That's great. No, this is really wonderful because everyone, there's a little something different, but I feel a little more comfortable that I'm going to be able to at least answer some or at least give you some ideas. I think, especially Nadine, I think you'll have a better concept of, okay, what goes into my website and that, oh, here's what needs to change about it. And then at the end, we'll have, questions if you have any questions and or want to go dive a little deeper. So I did prepare a PowerPoint, just so you know. Not everyone loves them, but I think it'll be helpful to move through it. So why don't we just dive right in, and we will see if I can share the screen. All right, beautiful. And okay, can you all see this?
Yes.
All right. So it works. So anyway, it's my opening screen, so we don't even go there. And this is me. I kind of talked about me before. But the biggest thing is I really appreciate this opportunity because this is what I really love to do. I work for so many larger clients right now. I miss just hearing people who are just really trying to get their business going. And it's just so much, it can be much more fulfilling and more immediate. So, I really hope you guys get something out of this. Before I dive into the website, with any client I have, I'm just like, first things first, really that back end stuff. And some of you mentioned some of the back end stuff you were doing, but really clear on what we call your USP, but your unique selling proposition. Okay. And that's, what do you do? So what your customers want, what you do well, what your competitors do, what's that one little piece that your customers want and you do better. And some of this may sound, I'm going to, Tracy and I talked about this. I'm sorry if this sounds a little marketing and I don't, marketing can get a bad rep. And I want to coach this in a way that this isn't like about pushing anyone to do anything, but it's just communicating who you are and being really clear to what you're delivering, and what you're bringing to your customer, your client, your patient, whatever, that is. But you wouldn't believe how many people actually start doing it without really thinking through. And that can often just be a writing exercise. So what is it? What is my unique selling proposition? And I know the word selling isn't great, but what is my unique, what do I bring to the world? And just really know, because that's going to influence so much of what your content that you put up there. So I really ask people to kind of just think that through. And then also to create your brand kit. And just that is just to know you have your logo, what colors, even the tone of your copy. I have so many clients. One is very academic. I did for the Integrative Functional Nutrition Academy. And they are functional nutritionists and they wanted it to be, but they want it to be more academic. They're in education. So we really worked on the tone and that also informed the design. And then I have another one. She's a yoga teacher and a health coach, but she's super sassy. She wants to be sassy. She wants to be a little irreverent. The design comes through. Her copy's a little more clip. But it's who she is. And she wants to know that her customers will know that's who she is. So however you come across, your brand is really that reflection of what people will come to expect from you and really your personality. And that comes through in your colors, the images you use, the idea that everything has to be super simple. Well, I do. I'm a big advocate. When I see really busy websites, people don't know what to do because that's one of the first things they need to know what to do on your website. But that doesn't mean you can't use a lot of photography or you can't have a background. It just, because if that's something that expresses what you do, it just has to be done, I think, in a way that is thoughtful and it isn't busy. So, and I'll show you some websites. If we have time, I'll show you some websites that do incorporate imagery, I think, nicely. So the other thing, so really knowing your unique selling proposition, knowing your brand, and those really tie together, because once you know that, you kind of get a sense of, this is your, in a way, it's your world, and people are going to walk into your website as walking into your world, and right away they're going to get a sense of kind of who you are. And then the other big thing is, what is the goal of your website? Why do you have a website? And to be honest, when I'm using, some clients don't need a website. They just need a Facebook page. But you need to know, why do you have a website and what do you want your visitors to do on it? Join your mailing list? Is that something you want to do? Do you want to start getting gathering leads? Do you want them to be able to book a consult and accept payment? You just need to know, do you want them to buy a product? Do you want them to follow you on social media? At one point I used to have brand awareness in here, but I think that's just overall, but you'll have one main thing you want, and then you may have several of these things, but you want to get clear, what is the main thing? If somebody goes into my website, that's going to be the first thing that they see how easy it is to do, that I want them to do, because your content will gear towards that as well. So just always keep that main goal in mind as you develop the content and your navigation.
Can I jump in real quick and just ask people on the chat, how many people have something for their viewers, to their users that come to do, whether it based on this slide here? Can you just put in the chat that what you have, or just curious if people have stuff that they're asking, whether it's an opt-in to join the mailing list. Just curious. All right, we'll all those things, book a consult. Okay. All right. I just was kind of curious to see what people were doing, because those are really good ideas. So, okay. Sorry, Jen.
Yep. Oh, that's great. And it might also be someone because to take a class, that's one as well, or to join a webinar or something like that. But just because, as you're designing the website, you're going to want these pieces, and you're going to want them where their priority is in the layout. Okay. So here are big 5 tips. And they're a little bit more than tips. I realize it's probably not the best word, but the first thing you want to do once you have your really set with yourself is your prospect. And this may seem like, oh, I know my prospect, but I really encourage people to get really down and dirty with it. Like because when you're developing content, you're talking to a person. You're not talking to your audience. You are talking to a person. So you really want to get a visual. What is their age? What is their marital status? Relative, and they're not going to be this one person, but it just gives you kind of a guideline. How do they spend their time? What are their interests? What do they desire? What are the challenges they're going through? What are their fears? What kind of life do they long for? And these are all the things as you're developing copy that you'll speak to, but you want to know, because if you're talking to someone who is kind of more of a master's degree, highly educated, affluent, person juggling a job and kids and stuff, it's going to be a little different than if you're talking to more of a 30 something who is, independent and more of a solo person. So you just get the sense that you just want to get really clear, who is your prospect? Okay. I really encourage surveys and things like that as well, because sometimes we have an idea of who our prospect is, and then we find out that people actually interested in what we're serving don't really, are maybe different. And then obviously they have a journey, they're kind of looking for something, they're ready to make a decision, and then there's a follow-up. But just to really, visualize when you're creating your content, what does this person actually look like and live with in their life? Does anybody have any questions about that? Okay, cool. So the other thing is, and this is probably one of the biggest mistakes I see, is people start with their features. So it's not about you as much as you are the person. It really is about them. And so many people are so excited to tell about what they do and how they came to it, that a lot of the upfront stuff is about, it's about me, and so, and this is why you should want to do it. That's not really what gets people connected. They feel connected when they feel seen. And it's an emotional response. So very quickly, you want to tell the reader how you can improve their life or what you bring to their life, whether it's more energy or it's health or it's, taking care of stressful situations, by providing certain services. You want to create that link between your prospect's desire and your product or service. So, and I've got some examples of that to show you, but it's really, people buy for emotional. They connect, they stay on your site first for emotional, but then they're really not going to follow through unless you speak to their rational side, because that's really the key. You want to hit both, but I really encourage people talking with the benefit of what you do versus the actual features, because then get them with the benefits, then you can talk about how you deliver those benefits. And those are your features, And for nutrition I work with, it's meal plans, it's, it's consultations, it's, testing, those sort of things. But you don't want to start with that as much as the benefits that will happen after they engage with your services. So once you capture that interest, you want to speak on the rational side, and then you also want to understand or give them a reason for trusting you, right? Whether it's testimonials or it's your background, whether it's whatever it is that provides confidence. Maybe it's where you've worked before, confidence that you can deliver on what you promise. Okay, so. Some of the simplest changes I've made to website is just switching these. So they start with their features, we just switch it, we kind of, and really think through, what are the benefits of what I do? What do people get? How do their lives improve by what I bring them? And then how do I do that? And why should you trust me? And that's kind of that's in this flow. So when you're building the kind of content flow, you want to think of what are you offering? You don't want anyone guessing. I've been a couple of websites where it's taken me a while to figure out what it actually is they're selling or they're promoting. How will it help me? How will it improve my life? How will it improve my family? How will it improve, whatever? And why should I trust that you can deliver it? Why should I choose you out of the people that are there? And then really important, how do I get it? So what is the call to action, right? So once you kind of take them on this journey, so here's an example, better sleep. Oh gosh, I want that. Okay. And I do it by, these yoga poses and this short meditation. All right. And then you will have more energy during the day and And, I've taught at Kripalu, and then here's a little blurb from another client who said, oh my gosh, I did this and it just changed my life. I sleep so much better now. And click here for, a consult, or it might be download a sample something, which I'll get to. But so it's really that flow that I think really helps keep people engaged in your website and feeling comfortable that you actually have something that they need and they can trust you and there's a way to get it. Okay. So this is a website that I did not do this website. It's one that I think is really well done. It's very simple. I'm not going to talk about the design on this one. I'm really just talking about content flow. But she's also a financial fitness coaching, which I thought was a great way to say it. And she gets really clear, this is what she's offering. She helps small business owners and entrepreneurs maximize profits, master their cash flow, and build confidence with their finances. Right away, I feel, okay, I know exactly what she does. And then the specific services, and that's what I want to do. I want to maximize my profits. That's a benefit, right? I want to feel more confident about my finances, where it's all going. So that's all the good stuff. And then these are the specific services that she offers, and I can learn more about each one. And then let me just, how will it help me? She, once again, she touches around a little bit. She gets a little deeper into it. And I love this. What if you had confidence with your financial decisions every day without in-depth analysis? What would happen? You'd stop wasting time. You'd grow with confidence. You'd keep more money. These are all like really good things, right? And then how do you get it? So here's how it works. I just think this flow is a really nice example. And she gives you options. You can schedule a call, find the right fit for you, master your money. And then you just schedule a call, and she has it all set up here. So, when I look at this, I just am like, this is a really nice flow. This is a really, clear flow of what needs to happen. And the call to action is very big and very clear. Okay. And then the last one is, so why should I trust her? Why should I trust this person? She's got a great quote up here from somebody, a Jessica P. And you don't have to, that's all you need to say. And then she also says where she's featured, so it just makes sense. Wow, so she's legit. So that sounds great. So, and I was thinking of so many of my own friends, I think, wow, who are on, just start their own business, and finance is a huge issue. This is such a great niche market. And I think she does a really simple job. And she's a finance person, so it doesn't need to be splashy, right? Because you want your finance person to be kind of like, down to earth. And I think there could be a few more pictures of her and that sort of thing, but I think she did a really nice job on this flow. And I'm going to go over this a lot with, I'm hitting content again, but it's really important because, when you go back and look at your websites, really look at how your content flows and how it's structured. Because you don't know how many people you lose when the structure isn't right. And you can definitely see that. And I see that in Google analysis all the time. Certain pages people drop off, and you can almost see it where the connection is. So you want to start with your promise. And I know I'm repeating myself here, but it's worth repeating. Start with your promise. And then a really lovely thing to do in your content is for them to picture it, whether it's visually or you create the experience, And so you want to, whatever that might be, I have, we did a great one for the Integrative Functional Nutrition Academy, where it's like, imagine, because that, starting, how do we say it? Sorry, I don't know, but it was kind of like that thing. Imagine this, and you set up the situation. Imagine waking up well-rested, and starting the day with a positive attitude, or, imagine being able to find time for yourself in the day, blah, blah, blah. And people are going to be like, yes, that's what I want. And that ties back to knowing your prospect. What is it they want? Make sure you talk to that in a very honest, simple, kind way. Be very authentic. And, that's really all you need to do for that. And then you want the proof of it. What is your expertise? What is the testimonials? What are your, what is some case studies maybe, where you did that. Blogs are great for that as well. And I'll talk about blogs in a little bit, but that's kind of what you want: the promise, the picture it, the proof of it. And I don't like the word push, but it's a P word. So if anyone thinks of a better word, but it's basically, it's a simple call to action. It's gently push them into making a decision. And that's what you want to do, whether it's to give them your email or whether it's to schedule a consult. You want to really, pull them on that. So when you take a look, the copy really is key, and the content. And again, I say copy, but a lot of this should be accompanied by photography, if you can, or video. Video is a great thing to use, especially, for, if you have testimonials or you have a case study, or it's just you talking about, what your expertise is and that sort of thing. Lots of nice things you can do with that. And those are great bits you can then use in social media if you want to. All right. So the fourth one is then the opportunity for engaging in internal links. So engagement is huge. You want them not just to read it. The website is not a brochure. So many times when the website first came out, people just, it was like putting a brochure on the internet. But what's wonderful about this is there's lots of ways to engage, and it might be the video, it might be read the blog, you might download, and really I encourage you to give them some free content to show them who you are. So a blog gives them the opportunity, right, to learn about you right on their website, to learn out your expertise right on your website, and you want to make it shareable. And then that's another great way. The other great thing about blogs is it's really going to help your SEO, your search engine optimization, because when they're indexing your website, they're going to see that you actually have really useful information on your website, and often it's updated so that you're putting new information on your website, and that really helps you move up in the ranks of SEO or indexing. And then, have them engaged, allow them to be able to download something, whether it's a free recipe, a morning, yoga, some, 5 tips for a better night's sleep. And then the big thing is to, whatever your call to action is keep it in line with your brand. But I really, instead of just, click here or whatever the old things do, or think of something fun, yes, I want it, or forget your guide to a better night's sleep, sweet dreams, something that is exciting and motivating, get it now. So, and then it also sign up for your emails, if you're going to do e-news. And I know some couple of you mentioned having MailChimp. It's so great to have that, even if you only put out once a month. Do it, make it shareable, because that's just a great way to keep a relationship with people who come to your website. And then you can also post a blog that'll drive them back to the website, or let them know you've updated something. So that keeps that relationship going. You might have a new offering or something. But you want to be really specific. So if you do want them to sign up for a newsletter, why should they sign up for it? So if it's an e-news, or just to join your list, what's the benefit to it? So just, get the latest health news and tips free, become a healthy health insider, grow your expertise. These are things people want versus just get my, sign up or something like that. So you wanted to do that. Get a free video, welcome video, watch now. Welcome videos or any kind of just quick videos are really great. We're just seeing more and more that people will watch videos more than anything else. They'll scan your website and they'll click on the video. So that is a nice thing to do. I know it's a bit of a pain and you don't have to do it, but it's a nice thing to do. And then book a session. So you could have a lot of, the way to go now, many people are offering like a 20-minute free introductory consult. Some of my clients actually do it because they want to know who this person is before they take them on anyway. So it's kind of both of a two-way street. But it's also just, no obligation. It allows person to kind of talk with you, get to know you, what it is, and you get a sense of what their needs are, and you can find out if it's a good match. So I think that is nice. You can also just, as I said, I use Squarespace, and I think they have a great scheduling app. I really like their scheduling. You get payment before, right ahead of time. I think it's really a great session. I know that one of the integrative nutritionists that I did, she has her own booking console, and it was great. We just linked it into Squarespace, so it goes right to her. It's more of a medical one because she has to for HIPAA, but it works really well. So the idea is to engage and have internal links. And what I mean by internal links is, so as I'm going down your homepage, there's all these places I can click to get to other places on your website. I don't have to just use the navigation bar. So it might be you'll see some of the, learn more about Marianne, and you click on it and there's your bio. Or, it might be, check out my blogs, or, but you can move around. That's also really nice for SEO as well. And it also just makes it more fun and more engaged on your website when there's lots of things to do. All right. So here's another sample. Now, this is a totally different personality than the other one, which is why I liked it. Again, I did not do this website. She's all over it. I think it's a little too much of Megan, but you do get a sense of her. And what I like about it is that she's like right away, she says, meet Megan, but what does she start with? That she helps people achieve their healthiest and happiest selves by finding the balance of nutrition and fitness that works for their unique body. I empower busy people who successfully balance work, family, social life, and many other commitments, but who struggle with their health. So right away, she's defining me. I might have made that copy a little different, like, make it even more about the person reading it. But what I like about it is I'm not learning really that much about Megan. I'm learning about the people she helps, the people like me. So, so I did like that about her. Then she's got work with me, read the blog, visit the store. Again, bunch of ways to engage with her. So I can click any one of those things to kind of, feel around her website. And then the other page or down, this is all scrolling down on her homepage, need a quick energy boost. Who doesn't need a quick energy boost? Download this list of 20 ideas. I want it. And you do, and you put your email in there. But I just thought, she's definitely has her own personality in here, and it might not be for everyone, but she definitely has a kind of a fun way of just seeing it. And it makes it easy to do these things. I don't feel pushed. And then she's got fresh from the blog. She's got her blogs you can kind of go to as well. So again, for engagement, I thought she had a really nice setup here. I'd love to, and the other thing too, I know she's got to learn more, and that does, you can't always be like crazy creative with these because you want them to learn more, read the latest, get the tools. So again, I think her call to actions, it isn't just learn more. So I think that's nice. All right. Am I going too fast? It's okay. I feel it's so different when you're in a room with people. I just see all your faces. So I hope this is okay. Feel free to like raise a hand or something if you've got a question or something. I need to slow down. So the fifth
Hey, Jen.
tip.
Looks
Yeah.
like Danielle has a question. I know it's hard to see everybody, so.
Yes, please go ahead.
I was wondering, do you prefer pages that are scrolling, so like the whole website being on one scrolling page, or having a number of different pages that they go from the front page to the next page,
That's a really excellent question. And I might have answered it differently a couple of years ago, but now most of the research shows 60 to 70% of people looking at websites look at them on their phones. So scrolling is becoming much more popular. It doesn't mean that's all you do, because I think you need both, but you really do want to be able to scroll and get the main content all on that one homepage and then you can go dive deeper by clicking through, but scrolling over, especially drop-down menus, those are really becoming almost a thing of the past. And I really encourage people, in fact, it's on another slide, to have as few tabs as they can across the navigation. You need what you need. So that's understandable, but really think about it. What do you really need there? And does it, how can what you have up there also be incorporated in your homepage? Like I mentioned, of the about, you also have that on your homepage. Your blog, you also have that on your homepage. Because what you'll find is more and more people are just on their phones. So that's the other thing. You really want it to look good on the phone, on a mobile app. And there have been some times where I'm designing Squarespace. I'm like, this looks so good. And then I go to the mobile view and it's like, it doesn't look so good. And so luckily there's a lot of coding you can do to make the mobile look different than the desktop. But you got to be really careful about that. So, and it may also, there might be some industries where it's not as popular on the phones, but I'll have to say the wellness area, it does tend to be a lot on phones or tablets. So just kind of be aware of that.
Okay, and then another question about video, that you had mentioned the video, and then that one person had click to get the video. I was thinking of having a video just on the home page that would just play right away when they got to the page. Is that a preferred way, or how?
that's kind of cool. Yeah, I think you could definitely do that. I mean, video is because as long as it is in line with what we talked about before, as long as you are connecting to your prospect through that video right away.
Right. It would be one of those, this is me and this is what I do. This, like explaining the work. Like
I think what you'd want to do is this is how you will feel. This is what I do for my client. This is
okay.
So yeah, because
Yeah.
I would not make it, as much as how wonderful it is about, our backgrounds and what we do. The interest is, well, what's in it for me? And as long as you're answering that pretty directly, very quickly, and I think starting with the question is great,
Right.
would you, whatever it is, would you like to, relieve chronic pain, and feel more at ease in your own body? I'm a so-and-so and I do this with my clients, that kind of thing.
That kind of thing. Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
And so the user experience navigation is kind of something we have been talking about a little bit. It's hard to talk about content without talking about it. I feel like sometimes in the industry, they make it this big deal. I mean, you can get your master's in UX experience right now, and it's a real scientific, but the thing is, I think if you just follow some of the steps we talked about in here, really understanding the journey you're taking them through on your website, it'll be fine, because there's just study after study. 90% of consumers say the website must be easy to navigate or they will leave. There's just too many other options, unless they're like, been really hot, you've been highly, highly recommended and they're going to stick it through. If after a while they're like, I don't understand, or they're turned off in any way, they just tend to leave and look somewhere else. But on the other side of that, if it is a bad experience, they won't come back. But on the other side of that is, it's a good experience, they are gonna stay. And then they said that 75% of consumers judge a brand's credibility by the website design, paying particular attention to good looking and properly functioning. So, I think that kind of idea of simple is really clean and simple, but appealing and welcoming. And, and then the navigation has to be really easy. So if you're a yoga teacher and I'm on your site, I want to be able to find really quickly, what kind of yoga you do, what your benefits are, and what you offer, So think about a user, and that's what I always do too, is you have somebody, come in and just play with your website and see if there's any places they get. And obviously your Google Analytics is going to tell you where the drop-offs are as well. So that's really helpful. This is just a quote, but it's from Adobe, so which I love Adobe. But so if they can't figure out what they're to do when they land on your page, they're going to leave. And on the other hand, if you've got a clear, well-defined navigation that helps them find what they're looking for, they're much more likely to convert and to come back again and to recommend and to share your site. So it's just very simple, just to do that. So a couple of tips is to keep it simple and professional, which somebody mentioned before, and I like to say that, but I also said, but make sure your personality's in it. You don't want just this clean, like it could be anybody's website, right? There's something about you that makes you. So how does that interpret itself or translate into your website? Carefully consider your top navigation, which you were talking about, no more than 5 tabs, less if you can, and use headlines, subheads, break up content in digestible pieces. Those walls of text, especially when you're on a mobile phone, that's when you see it. A nutritionist, I'll show you, Kathy Swift, I just finished her website, and she just really about education and academic, she's very serious. She's a functional nutritionist and very proud of it. But what happened was there was just way too much copy. And so we were able to break it down, and then we actually added some photos in to break it up, so that people feel like there's some space. But if they see a wall of text, most people are just they're not gonna stay. Unfortunately, our attention spans are shrinking daily. But the other big thing with headlines and subheads is that's gonna help your SEO, because that's what the search engines and the indexing is gonna look for. limit your drop downs. It's funny because when we were talking about doing this, a friend of mine, I was telling, I was doing this, she goes, well, do you have a website to give them? I was like, I don't have a website because I just haven't had a website for myself. Most of my things come from people I know in the industry or something like that, but I'm like, I should. So I did a website over the weekend. It's just one page. But it's really funny because I have a drop down. Or I was going to have a drop down. I'm like, no, I'm not going to have a drop down. But it's automatic. We just think of drop downs, but really they don't work that well, and they're not that great on a phone. So try and avoid it if you can. Prioritize scrolling, and there was that 60-70% of viewers are doing it on their smartphones, and it's only going to increase. I think so. Just keep that in mind. Use imagery that is right for your audience, and lots of it. So, and your image should reflect you and your personality. And it can be tough. I mean, spend hours going through the right type of imagery, but it can make a huge impact, So I think that's good. And obviously video as well. Okay. And these were some websites that I thought were good. The two that I put there, and then the other two that are mine. Sorry, I have to put them there. But I think they kind of reinforce what we talked about, what they do. And it's really great to do that. Find websites you like. Find websites that make you feel like, oh, I know what to do. I like this. It's very clear, and really study them. How did that work? Why do I feel this way? So I really encourage people to do that. So I was going to touch on this because this is a big deal, right? So you've created this great website, you've got your content flow, you've got your brand, you feel good. So, and then it just sits there. And how do you get people to come to it, right? So one of the things I should have on here somewhere, but the first thing I just want to say is blogs. Blogs are huge for driving people to your website. Put blogs in your social media post. And drive them to your website. I think it's a great thing to do. The biggest thing you could probably do though is your keywords. You got to be really know what your prospect would be using when they're looking for you, when they're kind of searching, so whether it's a, holistic practitioner or something. So what are they? And there's some great free tools that can tell you what are the keywords people use, like for nutritionists, what are the keywords people are looking for? And so I put down some of the tools there. Most of them do have a free version. And then there's also the Google Search Console, which I highly recommend. If you're not hooked up to that, you should. It's free. It's a great Google service. And that will tell you what are the search words people are using to get to your site as well. So it's really a great tool. It also has connects up with analytics. So that's some thoughts there. And the biggest thing to do is just the same old thing: create interesting content. Don't stuff your content with your keywords, because the algorithms are getting very smart, and they know when something is it's interesting. You want to be authentic, you want to be natural, but you want to know if, I did this with another client. We were looking at consult versus, what was the other word? It was a consultation, consult, and session, I think it was. And we saw it was consultation. And so we stuck consultation. We just changed up a little bit, but we made sure that whenever that was, it was the word consult, it was nutrition consultation. So, but you're going to want to have really interesting content. And that's where the blog comes into, over 400% or more search engine index pages that have blogs are websites. So produce quality content and try and do it often, which I know so many people are like, I can barely do my social media. I can't write a blog every month, but if you can, that would be really helpful. And I really encourage people to write a bunch of them ahead of time and then just line it up, so you don't have to feel pressured every month to do it. And what's really nice is you can then kind of break up a blog with just some of the key points, and you can use that in social media posts. So you can really repurpose your content. There's a lot of really kind of fun, like time-saving ways to repurpose. Yeah.
how long do you recommend the blog should be?
There's all these statistics about the blog. I don't think it should be any more than 500 words. I think around 300 is a really nice sweet spot.
Okay. Thank you.
250, 300, I think is good. I think that you'll find people who will tell you they need to be 600 words. And you may find, I think it needs to be as long as it needs to be. It's just, I think when they get to be that long that people aren't reading, I don't know. I don't mean to sound like I don't have faith in people's attention span, but I really don't. And if it takes you that long to get there, a lot of these, if it actually gets that long, I'd make it 2 blogs. I would say, well, is there 2 different ideas in here? Or are you repeating yourself, which I do all the time when I try and write a blog. I just find that I've actually repeated myself quite a bit. So,
That's
I think it has to be substantial. So that's why I think, 300 is a good number, and that gives you plenty of room to put in all the keywords. And if you do any backlinks, so if you're kind of quoting someone or, because that's the other thing, which I think I have on the next, did I put it in there? Yes. Writing guest blog posts, or having someone write you a guest blog post, because it's going to get, so if 2 of you guys, one of you is a nurse practitioner and one of you is a nutritionist, and the nurse practitioner writes about something and mentions nutrition and gets a quote from that, they'll put that on their website. And then you guys can just share without being competitive, all the people following one site, all the people following the other one. Backlinks are great, and search engines love backlinks. It really helps your ranking if you have an authentic backlink, and one that is a kind of highly respected. There's actually a whole industry out there of people trying of places that you can actually buy backlinks to, but the algorithms are really smart. They know those are just, it's kind of like, buying papers in college. It's just doing it to get traffic and not actually a relationship. So what's really nice about, I think, the Women's Exchange, Wellness Exchange, is because it's such a great opportunity. And if someone for say, hey, I'm writing a blog about this, would you post this on your site? And I'll post one of yours on mine, because it connects to, we're connecting kind of what we do. And yet, we're wellness. And so there might be an overlap in some places. So I really encourage that. And it's a great way to support each other and boost it. Keep active on social media pages. I know, but anyway, I do. But you don't have to be on everything. Pick one. Start with one. If you feel like you've got that covered, do 2. And you can only do what you can do. It's better to post consistently, less frequently, than not to be consistent. So, and again, this was the one thing someone was like, well, if I had a little bit of money, what should I spend it on? Half the time, I think just get someone to help you with social media, because often that's what pulls people away the most. I think there's so many great tools out there for the website. You can kind of, once you get it up, you can take care of it yourself. Your newsletters, you may want to do yourself anyway. Social media, can be a bear. But I do think you need to do it. The emails, that's another huge one. Get the email sign up, keep a relationship going with them, and get them driving them back, and also give them the opportunity to share. If you've got something interesting, say, let them share it. And then influencer outreach. You might have somebody on, for Q&A, a video with somebody, and have that on your website, have that on your social media, get that there, tag the influencer. So that's huge now. It's a huge thing. Find out who the influencers are in your area or your industry. But anyway, I mean, these are a lot. I don't expect people to do all these, but at least gives you an idea of how to start getting, a little bit more traffic to your website. And the biggest thing you want to do is you want to study your analytics. You want to see, where is it coming from? When is it coming? What worked? What didn't work? Because if it's not working, then stop doing it. If it's working, you want to do more of it. So, that's the biggest thing I tell people is just really understand where people are going on your website, where they're leaving, and then where they're coming from and what keywords they're searching. So just there's a lot of those. The one thing you'll start to get a sense of what it is, that's working. So I'm sorry if I spoke so fast. So that's small steps, though. You don't have to do all of this. It's just a good kind of overview of these are some of the key things you want to be aware of, and to pick something. Maybe do a content, audit of your site. What is the flow on it? Maybe just take a look at what's the engagement on your site. Take a look at your analytics. Where are people dropping off? Take a look at that page. Are you talking to the prospect more than telling them about yourself? Which, again, it happens all the time. It's natural. It's what we go to.
Question about the analytics.
Yes.
Where do you track the analytics? Is it on
Google Analytics.
for your website?
It actually in Squarespace has its own little analytics panel as well. And most do, and Wix does as well. But you can hook yourself up, especially through the Google console, to Google Analytics, and it's free. And it will show you that as well. And there's some great YouTube videos on how to use Google Analytics, how to read it. And I know it's one more thing, but at least all this stuff is free and available, which is nice. And you might you don't have to do everything, just know kind of what pages they're coming to. Because often if you post a blog, you'll find that people are coming into your website through that blog page. They're not coming through your homepage. If they're doing a certain Google word key search or keyword search, they may come in through your homepage. And it just depends. But where, are they leaving? Are they dropping off after, I don't know, your pricing sheet or something? Just you kind of figure out where it is they're coming and going. Just can give you some insight into what's working and not. And then, and to share it and to ask somebody to do a little audit of your site. Like, what did they like about it? What didn't? What was confusing? What did they think was your unique selling point? See if it comes out. So that's a couple of thoughts there.
Got a
I have a
question.
question. This is Mary Ann.
Hi, Marianne.
Is a custom built website going to give me more higher rankings on Google and just on Google and the standings? Is it going to give me a higher ranking versus having a tech, like a template, like Wix, like a template website? I've heard that template websites don't get the visibility as much.
There is that going around. I have to say, I don't know as much about Wix. I do know for Squarespace, they've upped their SEO. So you're going to want a kind of robust search engine optimization component to it. There's definitely things that you can do, but what's nice about Squarespace is that you can put in the mega tags, and that's what they do to find, that's how the search engines find what your stuff's about. There's lots of things you can do to actually help your search engine optimization and in your SEO in Squarespace. So I feel like when you say, I know a lot of people who are doing professional websites and they're building in Squarespace. And they do some coding, definitely, but they're using it. WordPress, is same. You really just need to have a really good SEO strategy. So you need to have the keywords built in. You need to have all the content, all the mega tags, right up. You need all the search engine copy in behind, in behind the scenes. So I guess I feel that if you're really smart about when you're building the website, even if you're just doing it in Squarespace, you can still definitely have a strong standing ranking in the search engines.
Okay, and is Squarespace the same as the Square that I use for my financial?
No, it's not.
No.
Yeah, that's so. It's true. It's not. It's a different. It's just it's similar, probably similar to Wix. And I have to say, I don't have as much experience with Wix, but it's a competitor, and it's just what I know. And I could show you, like in the back end, you can just see all the places that you can fill in for increasing SEO. And there's a lot of great things that you can do to improve it.
Hey, Jen, do you want to close off the screen share and then we'll just?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah.
That's okay.
Forgot about that.
Maybe we can just have a group discussion.
I
Yeah,
do have a couple questions.
sure.
If I'm advertising my workshop, then I just go to my website and I copy the link for the workshop. Rather than give, resourcefullife.com, I actually take them to that page. So
Exactly.
if I'm doing, so I am doing it right then. Because if I'm doing the healing group, because a lot of my parents have autistic kids and they can't bring them in here and they're like at home. So I have a healing group, a family healing group, and then I do like a distance session. Actually, I do it online for them. But I would just put that link on.
Yeah, I would take them right to what they want
Right. Okay.
immediately. Don't make them search for it.
My
Yeah.
next question is, now I forgot. So when I'm on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn, or I do all of those, plus all the little subsidies that go off in different directions from that, especially like Instagram, you do the hashtags. I was doing the one like say wellness. I'm just going to pick that word. And then I'll take the wellness with the most hits on it. And then someone said, don't do that. Actually take the ones because you're going to get lost in the shuffle. So they say, go down a few steps. Don't get, 130 million people looking at this. Get the one with, maybe 2,000 or, is that correct?
It is. I think that's the way. And I even, and anytime you're doing, even with keywords, when people are looking at keywords, so there might be a keyword that gets everybody, but all the big names get that, everybody's after it. So what you want to do is become as much niche as you can and more. And so they call it long tail keywords. So you might want to be, so instead of being a yoga as a keyword, you might have yoga for seniors or yoga, yoga for cancer survivors, whatever, just as, so you can then break down and you're not lost in this huge thing. So if you can kind of really be specific, with the hashtags, I same thing, but also with your keywords, I would do the same thing.
Yeah, on Instagram, they actually shut me off for the word autism. Because
Yes.
I actually, if you're looking up Meet Susan, you'll see Susan's a quack. Well, I was a speaker at the Autism One National Conference in 2020, and apparently this one, she claims, Fiasanti, she claims that she's autistic, and she has 3 autistic children. I work with a lot of autistic people, and sometimes it's a little more difficult to communicate because they can't process what you're actually saying.
Yeah.
Sometimes. And so she put quack on. So I've been, her .com is on GoDaddy. So I've had conversations with GoDaddy to get her off. And I'm like, and then I had to pull all this content off. And she
Really
did it to 5 doctors besides myself. So the 5 doctors are quacks and I'm a quack too. And so, but I can't get it off GoDaddy. I keep filling out the forms and sending the information. That was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Is there any other hint how to get somebody off?
No, I've heard stuff like that before too. It's really difficult. And that's, and again, I don't know how other places would handle it. GoDaddy, it just doesn't, I think have the,
I don't have any backup.
I haven't had great experiences with GoDaddy. So I don't know if it's just that, but I have heard of other things happening with kind of being judged and it's on social media and then you just can't.
So that particular group that I work with is very, very sensitive and sometimes irrational. Obviously she not only tagged me, but 5 doctors. But same thing with Instagram. I can't use the word autism. The second I hashtag anything that says autism, I will have so much hate mail, because I'm like, you can. I mean, I've actually totally have out of Boston children had a kid completely functional, 3-year-old in 8 sessions. And that's the truth. But what happens is people who are having a real rough time, they'll lunge at your throat and go for you. So I can't advertise anything with the word hashtag anything with autism because a lot of them are so distraught that it's actually a hazardous place to put yourself.
Yeah, social media can be a hazardous place to
really
be
setting yourself up
sometimes.
for some real nasty
Yeah.
doing that.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. Are there any other questions?
had a question.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask about, so on my website, I do have a subscriber button for my newsletter. And I noticed last month in particular, I had about 40 new subscribers.
Oh,
Yeah, but I noticed that
that unusual?
it is unusual to
Okay.
have that many. And so, but a lot of the emails are like, you know, the kind that come with a name and then they have like 4862Z, you know.
Oh,
So I am, so I probably had at some point was doing a good job of getting people to my website to subscribe because they're subscribing through Squarespace, is because I can see that in MailChimp how they, you know,
right.
and so anyway, the quandary is that my newsletter, I feel like, is a kind of like a coveted community. And I put sometimes I put the location, which could be at my house for outdoor yoga classes or something like that. And so so I don't know whether that's like a MailChimp thing that I could, because I'm
Do you have the security piece on the sign up where they have to like confirm they're not a bot and that kind of thing?
yes, they do have to
Okay.
verify. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I don't know. So and then I've thought about just forget the newsletter because it's anyway, because I put a lot of time and effort into it and a lot of content. And then someone said, just do a blog, but it is nice to have those emails in that community.
Oh, it's so much. And there's evidence too, they are going to convert much better than someone who's not already in that. And they'll also share and talk about it. So I just want to go back so that those names that came in, you're not sure was there something that you did that generated that, or you're just think it was just some weird,
I just sort of started feeling that maybe by, you know, the hashtags or by, I don't know, I've been using a lot more keywords,
mhm.
whatever, somehow I just don't feel like they're all legit. Like some of them I'm like, oh, I recognize that name, or that sort of, you know, seems like, but it's hard to know if those are just random people that are going to end up seeing everything. I don't know. I guess you
Well,
just risk it or you.
yeah, it's interesting. One of the things you could do, because the thing is, as you get more and more names, you're going to get more of those people like, oh, sounds good, I'm going to sign up for this, and whether they're how serious they are or what, whether they're legit, you can always up it by having kind of your premium, where they need to pay $10 a year to be like, and to get some of that stuff. Just depends as you get it, because any type of annual thing will kind of get rid of anyone who is not serious, because really giving away things like your address and things like that is that is something to be thinking about. And if you put all that work into it, you do want to grow it. So I wouldn't want you to stop growing that list, but I don't know if there's a way to tier it, and to do either a survey back to the list about who's interested in what and see what you get. And if they don't respond, you could, segment that list off and only send to the list that is there. And then maybe you have an email that goes out to the whole list, and then you only segment those people, because that you can do that, MailChimp, and you can tag the ones that are the premium people. So I know it might be extra work, but I think just to be safe, you would know that this group is the group that gets it. And then this other group, maybe someone will move into that group as they go, but you won't have to send everything to everyone.
Okay. But it's good to know that you agree, like having the newsletter list, that those people is a good thing to grow.
It is a good thing. It's a great thing. And it sounds like you put a lot of like thought into it. And I think that's really important. And what's your open rate?
Well, usually it's like 175.
What's the first out of
Out of 283. So 40 of those are these random. Well, I don't know that they're all random, but I feel like some of them are definitely a handful or more than that. But also I need to check into, so this time it was like 124, and I think maybe some of them are going, because I can look and see who opens and who doesn't open.
Exactly.
And a lot of the same people aren't opening, and I'm afraid they're going to spam or junk mail or something like that.
They could, yeah, they could. And the other thing too is if what I do sometimes is if I find, people haven't opened the last 4 emails or the last 5, I just take them off. I send them an email saying, if you don't want to receive this anymore,
Okay,
and
good.
get them off
Some
the
of the
list. So you can clean
systems-
up your list.
Some of the systems now, I know I use SharpSpring with this consulting work, and they have a thing that says, do not send to low engagement people. So I think they're starting to get, I don't know if Constant Contact has that yet, but that might be something that people are going to be adding, because it does help with your open rate if you don't have a lot of spammy kind of things. And
Yeah. Yep. You can definitely say, make a tag if they haven't opened within the last, 4 emails, don't send it.
I know when I thought about just taking those people that I know and pulling them and just sending an email to them saying, if you are, because I'm thinking some of them may be like, I never get it. I subscribed and then I never get anything. So
Right.
but that's a lot of work.
You
But
can't email them and ask them that, because then they're not getting your email.
well, this is true. But maybe they would get it from me personally, but not from MailChimp. You know what I mean?
Right. Oh, true,
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you. I appreciate that.
Okay, no, that's good.
any other
Anybody
questions?
else?
But do you really want to give them your personal email? I know like only people that I'm close with get my personal email. Everybody else has to go through the business email.
Yeah, I would just do it for people. Like I recognize about 25 or 30 people that I know I know through friends or they're my friends or whoever. So I would only do it to people that I knew,
Mhm.
that I actually knew. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because if the people that I don't know that randomly signed up, and I can also tell if they were on the host form or if I signed them up, or, I can look and see.
yeah,
But
yeah. It's fine.
All right, I think we're probably should wrap up here. Folks want to jump off. So thank you, Jen, so much. That was awesome.
Thanks. It's great. I hope it, I think I hit most of what people wanted. So I hope it was helpful. I hope you found a couple of things to think about.
What is your telephone number?
Excuse me?
What is your telephone number?
My telephone number?
Your email?
What's that?
Do you want to give her email or something? Or is
Yeah,
that-
how about my email? Let's start with the email.
Okay.
You want to put it in
It's,
the chat?
Yeah, it's Jen, JEN 14.young@gmail. And I can put that in the chat too. And then I did, as I said, I did my website this weekend.
Yeah, what is it, Jen?
I'll put it on. It's just jenneyoung.com. But please remember that I built it just in a day. So it's just very simple. And then it's
Oh, it's so nice. And you
Oh.
use Squarespace?
yeah, I just use Squarespace. I think this is coming out. Are you guys seeing this? I think you are. The other one I really want you to look at is Kathy Swift's, because I'm really proud of that. And it was really took a lot of the things I talked about. Actually, the Academy one's really nice too.
KathySwift.com?
Yeah, it's an IE.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say that doesn't look like a website.
Yeah. See if
Oh, nice.
yeah. And what's nice about Kathy's is I think, and we just talked on the phone because I do her blogs. And so we were like, we got to get another blog up. But we've just seen a huge boost in her site with the blogs she shares on social media.
Well, and I was going to mention this to everyone on, we've lost a few people, but the one thing about the Women's Wellness Exchange is it's an independent platform, and my hope is that one day, this is where you put all your eggs in this basket so you don't have to go on social media all the time, and that we have 100,000 people coming to the site every day, and because it's curated and, you can put articles, and my hope is to, continue building this so that we have an independent platform that, isn't something that is at the mercy of the Google algorithms and social media and all those things. So,
Mhm.
And I was going to also mention that we have a we're doing an article every month, which is basically a feature article by our members. And so this one is your morning routine. So we're going to compile a whole bunch of ideas from our members into one blog article. So that's a great thing for search engine optimization, because it's another place for people to find your name, right? And give you more visibility on the Women's Wellness Exchange. So that's something that is up now. And I think the deadline is Friday for the morning ritual. So that is another opportunity. And just really every time you post something on the Women's Wellness Exchange, whether it's a new event, a special offer, you are increasing your visibility on the site, but also in Google and Google in SEO. So, that's my goal, is that we can really, as a group, really build this up as a resource. So when someone says, I want a health coach, or I want a yoga teacher, or, I need energy work, that we are coming up, as a resource. So that's the hope.
I have one more question, if that's all right. I'm just going to say that what I would love is like I said, my website is pretty simple, but a lot of the things that you were going through, I was like, oh yeah, I could change that. I could do that. But what I really, especially the homepage, I would love to get feedback on, just like having people, or I would be happy to pay you for your time, just to like look and say, okay, they didn't tell me enough about you, or it was a picture of you and this small, because I will definitely change to scrolling. It's not scrolling now, but kind of like the first impact, because, I've asked people, friends and things, they're like, it's so great, but you don't really know. People they're not thinking about it in terms of like someone like you, or
Right.
if the resource within the Wellness Exchange where that could happen.
Cool idea.
Well, that's kind of what we talked about, is the website assessment.
Yeah.
So Jen and I talked about that already, and I think that's a great idea. So I'm glad you mentioned that, Jenny. We got to work on that.
Yeah. Because I want to be able to, because I do website audits and kind of go and then come the plan, but we were talking about doing something, with a discount for members and stuff. And again, it doesn't take, let's just, you want to spend depending on what your site is, like an hour on it or so, but it's not a big, but at least it would say, okay, here's key things that are really good, because you want those too, right?
Right.
And then here's some ways to improve it, or here's some things that might be missing. And often it's just that can really help, shift it a little bit, especially when you're living with it yourself so long. It's just, yeah.
Last question, because I have to go. I'm like so tired. I've been up since wee hours. So it's Jen, Gen or Genne?
It's a J. J-E. Yeah,
Yeah.
Jen. It's actually Jenne. Yeah, Jenne is my name, but my website's Jenne Young.com.
So to get you, I need Jenne.
I put it in the chat. Did it go through? It's actually it's just Jen14.young for my email, but I also have a contact sheet on my website as well.
So it's just Jen, not your.
Yeah.
I'm seeing there. Okay. All right. I have to run because I'm going out right now. I'm so tired.
Thanks, everybody.
It was very nice meeting you.
Have a great night. Bye.
Okay.